Well, we're set to get underway in this World Cup Group A clash. It's the second round of fixtures for these two sides, and the ball rolling. It's Ecuador who take kick-off. Ecuador up against the Netherlands for this one. Ecuador shooting from right to left in their change strip for this game. A royal blue shirt with white shorts and socks. It's the Netherlands in their traditional orange number from top to toe. And both sides winning their opening games. Ecuador were involved in the opening game of the World Cup, getting a 2-0 triumph over the hosts Qatar, really cruising to victory. And Valencia scoring twice in that game. As for the Dutch, they also got a 2-0 win against Senegal. It was much more hard work for them to get through. Late goals from Cody Gakpo and Davy Klaassen, getting them off to a winning start nonetheless. I'll take you through the 11s in just a moment as there's a bit of head tennis ensuing. The Netherlands trying to come forward. Ecuador will clear their lines, make their way out to the left-hand side, and possession has been lost. So there are three changes for the Dutch from that opening win, with Timber, Koopmeiners and Klaassen coming in. So they are Noppert in goal, in just his second appearance for the Netherlands. Dumfries, Timber, Van Dijk, Ake and Blind in defence. Koopmeiners, De Jong and Klaassen through midfield. Bergwijn and Gakpo play up at the top. Still no Memphis Depay in the starting lineup. There's one change to the Ecuador side that beat Qatar, and that's because they've gone a little bit more defence-minded with Jackson Peroso coming in. So they are Galindez in goal and a back five of Preciado, Peroso, Torres, Hincapié and Estepinian. It's Plata, Mendes, Caicedo and Estrada through midfield, with Valencia leading the line on his own. Estrada had partnered Valencia up at the top against Qatar, but dropped into midfield to add extra bodies. No doubt that Ecuador, having got that win against the host Qatar in the first game, see this as a bit of a tougher test.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, they've got to work in, don't they? This is, maybe they can nick a goal, maybe they can, keep tight, keep a draw. I think you play off the cuff a little bit. There might be one up top with Estrada, who's 6'2", playing a lone striker role. He might be supported by Valencia, but he might drop in. Valencia's top scorer for Ecuador, so it wouldn't make any sense for him not to be supporting attacks. I think it's one of those where they see what they can get. They'll see how their formation works out and how they're in the game. I look at this Dutch team, and I think, so what? I look at the players and I don't see the heroes of yesteryear, the brilliant players. It's a good team. They're quite well organised by Louis van Gaal, but I don't rate them that highly in short. So it'd be a fascinating game, and I genuinely think that Ecuador will have a chance here to, maybe spoil things for the Orange a little bit.
There's definitely two different approaches on show. Only 3 minutes in, we can already see that. The Dutch wanting to hold on to possession, try and play their way forwards. Ecuador sitting in a tight defensive unit, shuffling side to side and making it tough for the Dutch to find space. We've got a stoppage here as there's an injury to Preciado. He's gone down sort of out of play. Nothing clear that we saw that had happened, but he seems to be feeling a bit of a niggle in a rather sensitive area.
Yeah, let's call it a groin strain. But I didn't see the challenge that led to his groin strain. Gustavo Alfaro looks on. He's got another Preciado on the bench, hasn't he? To Preciado if you want. But I don't know if he's the same position or what. You've got it all sorted out, haven't you? And, the last thing you want is having, carefully worked out your team, is have somebody come off. But I do just think that was a collision rather than a groin strain, where he's copped for one there. I don't know if off, but it looks sore. It's bound to hurt. And I'm already thinking about the minutes that are added on at the back end of it all. But I think quite rightly, I know it makes the game seem quite long, but I think they've been really fair. It's not just, bang, 2 minutes on, is it? It's like, well, how much did we miss?
Yeah. And
I think they're doing it fairly. It'd be nice to see this carried on throughout football, in the professional ranks, if they can do it. I don't know why they didn't, before.
Yeah, makes sense. A lot of other sports just stop the clock and they make sure that they play to the full allocated time. Football seems to be its own special breed in that the clock never stops ticking. The referees is supposed to, of course, but the one we see doesn't, and often it's just the nominal sort of 3 minutes that you tend to get at the end as the Dutch come forward. It's shot, and it's into the side. No, it's in the back of the net. It bounced back out. Cody Gakpo, his second goal of the World Cup, and the Dutch strike with 5 minutes gone.
I tell you what, he hit it that hard, when it came bouncing out the back of the net, I thought it's hit the stanchion.
Yeah.
And it's, and then he wheels away in celebration. What a strike. And all that, they'd look like they'd won the ball in the middle of the park. I love Moises Caicedo. He wins the ball, but he just trickles off his toe end. And unfortunately for him, straight to an orange shirt. And then the next thing is just Gakpo being alive. He didn't play well the first game, did he? He was dropped back too deep. They're pushing him further up the field. All sorts of, teams watching him. But he just gets the ball out of his feet, sorted. Oh, left foot strike. He's hit that like a bullet.
Fantastic, isn't it, from the PSV man, as you say. He's been linked with all sorts of clubs. There was lots of interest in him over the summer. He decided to stay put at PSV, but no doubt with 2 goals to his name at a World Cup, there'll be plenty coming in, and probably plenty more added on to the tally that PSV will be asking for him to depart Eindhoven if he does in the January transfer window. But the Dutch getting off to the perfect beginning in this game. Took them beyond 80 minutes to register and find a breakthrough against Senegal last time out. And with their style of play and the way that we'd seen Ecuador set up as well defensively, it's one of those that if you don't score early, as we see in the Premier League, Manchester City, the longer it goes on, the more frustrated you become, the more the defending team grows in confidence, it becomes difficult.
Yeah, it does. I think the thing is sometimes, though, the back five can be 3 at the back with wing backs who come on. So, I'm sure that they're taking contingencies into account, considering early what we're going to do if we do this, what we do this. And it's quite a fluid formation. But they're going to have to get forward. What an early goal does. It's great for the game. I've done a few 0-0s, and the longer it goes, the more everybody gets nervous and anxious, and the less likely you are to have a goal. Goals bring more goals, though, don't they? And, Ecuador will be feeling now they've got to get forward, and they're trying just to do that. The ball won in the middle of the park there. A chance for Preciado to get forward. And they're showing a response to going and get one down here. It's good stuff.
Yeah, not retreated into their shells as Sebas Mendes swings a low ball into the box. The Dutch are able to clear initially, but it's brought back, and then wanting a free kick, Ecuador. Referee Mustafa Gorbal not interested. It's swung back into the box over the head of Ake. Limp will have to deal with this under pressure from Angelo Preciado, and he does manage to hook it away downfield. Claimed by Mendes, and they hold on to possession on the halfway line. This is just the sort of response that Gustavo Alfaro would want. Besides holding on to the ball well, Netherlands, the team that tend to dominate possession. They're yet to lose a game since Louis van Gaal returned to the dugout for the 3rd time. 16 matches without defeat for them now. They enjoyed a pretty good Nations League campaign. It's a victory over Belgium in that, and they find themselves coming into this World Cup in really good form. Many people suggesting that they missed out on the 2018 edition. They would have a point to prove here and could secure their place in the last 16. Not necessarily top spot, but guaranteed to go through to the knockout phase if they win this game. Then be up to Ecuador and Senegal to battle it out beneath them for the other slot in the last 16.
I think last time out in the World Cup, it was the last roll of the dice, wasn't it, for Van Persie's and Robbins, and everybody else filed in behind them. They've got a more balanced team this time, and I think it's interesting Louis van Gaal has got some of the older players to work as a buffer in between him and his team. The older he gets, he seems more colder and difficult he is to work with, but he's still a very savvy manager who knows what he wants to do. So I think they've done that quite well. Usually out of the Dutch camp, they fall out with themselves halfway through the tournament, don't they, for some reason or another. However, there seems to be some togetherness with the group, this time around. So, I don't know. I don't think they're good enough to go on and win it. But it'd be interesting to see how far that commitment and togetherness does get them this time. Because there's clearly a lot of talent in the group, isn't there? I think tactically as well, he's a savvy manager, there's no doubt about that. Just don't think that they've got those world-class players anymore, though.
Worth noting as well that they've pretty much been without Memphis Depay for their opening 2 games. He came off the bench in the opener against Senegal. He's back on the bench from the start here. Came into the tournament with an injury, so Louis van Gaal keeping him back for maybe the bigger games as it develops. He was their top scorer in qualifying, level with Harry Kane as the top scorer of any of the European nations, with 12 goals to get the Dutch to the competition. So him added would maybe even give them a little bit more potency in the final third. But they've not struggled for goals so far. 3 scored, and we're just 10 minutes into this second game. A 2-0 win in the opener and 1-0 ahead so far here against Ecuador. But Ecuador have got themselves a free kick and have fought back since falling behind. It's that Cody Gakpo 6th minute left-footed strike. Ecuador take this free kick short, when maybe it would have been better to swing it into the box, but they have got it out wide to the right. Preciado will deliver a deep ball, kept alive there, headed down, volleyed into the ground. Van Dijk will clear with his head. It's an awkward-looking ball that came into the box, and Valencia was just maybe not able to catch it as cleanly as he would have liked. The initial header down was from Brighton's Estepinian, and it's now the Dutch who have it back going to their goalkeeper. But yeah, this has been good from Ecuador. They've shown the Netherlands that they're not just going to roll over after conceding.
No, I would. I mean, it's a World Cup, and it's a silly thing to say, but when you see the games, you see how hard the players try and what's at stake. It's been exciting. All too often we see teams and we wonder if they're trying hard enough, if they're putting it in. Is he bothered playing for this club or that? It's World Cup, baby, and everybody gives it a good go, don't they? And so much so that you see, like, really intense stuff, drama, head injury, all that kind of thing, because everybody's on the raggedy edge. And here, Ecuador are just that. They've got some good players, haven't they? Like I said, Caicedo, Brian, he's superb. He's only 21, and he seems to have been around forever, It's whether the others in that Ecuador team are quite as strong as him. We remember Valencia at West Ham, and Everton. He was a decent player, probably didn't grab enough goals, but he's top per scorer for Ecuador. 37 goals. I'm sure he'd love to make it 38. But the Dutch grabbed the lead, but in this game now they're playing second fiddle. Is Ecuador really showing a bit of guts and spirit out there to get back in the game?
Not lost in 8 games, Ecuador, and only tasted defeat once since back in October of 2021. So you say they're not a side that can be overlooked. Some of those victories and draws that they picked up along the way coming in qualifying for the World Cup, and take on some sides that are involved in this competition. They beat Mexico by 3-2 away from home. They picked up a goalless draw as well with Japan, and have also drawn with Argentina in qualifying too. So a side that can mix it with the big names. They certainly won't fear the Netherlands, and we've seen that so far in this game. But they have got to be wary of what the Dutch have to offer. Already seen them find the breakthroughs. Ecuador, who are seeing all the balls since that goal was scored, they're coming down the left-hand side now. Valencia dropping deep. You suggested earlier that he might be the one that drops into those areas, and whether that would work in their favour or not. 5 goals he's got in World Cup competitions. They're leading all-time goal scorer. You would think it's best for him to be staying up where he can do the most damage, and not just dropping in there to stitch play together.
Yeah, he's just a busy player though, isn't he? And typically as a captain, you feel it, you've got to cover every blade of grass. So he's doing just that. Whether he's going to last 90 minutes playing like he is, I don't know. Nervous energy only gets you so far, doesn't it? They're obviously 3 at the back, and we talked about Jackson Porozzo before kick-off, nicknamed the Beast. Plays his football in France, being drafted in. Maybe they don't need him, but it's very difficult, because you look at the Netherlands, there could be 2 up top with Bergwijn and Gakpo. Almost it could be 3 if Klaas makes it 3 in between them, because he's a big guy. He could almost play as a number 9. They're almost playing without a striker, are they? But they could have 3 as well. So it's one of those tricky formations where you can't quite work out what the Dutch are doing when they're going forward, and they're very difficult to read.
Ecuador have just given it away cheaply deep in their own half, but they get it back just as cheaply off the Netherlands, and it's Valencia carrying down the left. Estepinian breaks further ahead of him, but Valencia rather is going to carry it himself. He's run into Denzel Dumfries, and eventually he's just nudged off the ball, and it's going to go behind for the goal kick. I don't know if Valencia's complaining that he was fouled, or that maybe he didn't feel the options were presenting themselves for him there. Either way, it is the Dutch who will get us back underway, and Frenkie de Jong, who worked really hard against Senegal and that was down to the fact that everyone else in midfield just seemed to desert him. He's got a little bit more balance, it seems, today. Miners alongside him out on this right flank just as it stands at the moment. Clarkson, as you said, may well venture further forwards. It'll be a chance for him to join the attack, but at least De Jong isn't having to do all of the legwork. Back to Van Dijk now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be pleased that he's got Miners alongside him, somebody who's going to dig in with him a little bit. Like I said, just way too much to do. David Klaasen's like a free spirit, and they just let him go, don't they, and go and affect play. I really like watching Daley Blind play as well out the left-hand side. Oftentimes when you see a goal go in against him, he's like nowhere to be seen. But he wins so much ball, he's so clever, you know, when he's going forward, he's good to watch. But like I say, if you're Nathan Ake, you're thinking, where's he gone? You know, and he's got to be really careful. I like watching Blind play, I think he's a good player though.
Ake's on the ball at the moment, carrying it up towards the halfway line, invited into space. Eventually arrives towards Mendes and pulls it out to Blind. Chasing him, he's got Preciado, who is playing in that right wing-back role, but as I mentioned earlier, the wing-backs for Ecuador are looking to get forward. It's not just a flat-back five, they're creeping up the pitch and looking to influence the play, make sure that Ecuador do have bodies in that final third, and likes of Valencia and Estrada aren't isolated once they do manage to stitch together an attack. The Dutch trying to settle back into a rhythm themselves now, having conceded possession for the last 10 minutes or so really since they scored that goal, to grab a firmer grip of proceedings. Ball into De Jong, who looks over his shoulder and realises he's got a player on his back and manages to squeeze it away to Steven Bergwijn. He's dropped back into his own half to get a rare touch in the game. Just 16 and a half minutes gone. Netherlands 1, Ecuador 0. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Van Dijk forwards to Timber to midfield. Gakpo trying to turn on it, just showed too much of the ball, and it, fortunately for him, bounces back to its teammate, and they'll start again on the edge of their own box. They're keeping a high line, aren't they, Ecuador? They're not just dropping back to the halfway line and saying we'll defend from here. I suppose falling a goal behind maybe has influenced that a little bit as well, but you've got to have that high block, haven't you? Show some resistance and make them work for it.
Yeah, they're going to play out from the back, aren't they? It's the Netherlands, you know, and they've got 3 centre-backs, so why wouldn't they? So it's up to Ecuador to make them, you know, play well and pass well to get into the opposition half. You know, if every man is marked, then, you know, they're doing their job. I think they realised that it was going to be difficult today, and, you know, they might have conceded a goal, which has gone in early. But, you know, they've shook it off, and I think Ecuador are very much in the game. I think it started quite well. Maybe that goal, the wake-up call they didn't want, in one respect, has maybe helped them out.
Down the line, Gakpo just asking too much of Dumfries. Clearance away from Piero Hincapié is into touch for a throw. The Netherlands will remain on the front foot, level with the edge of Ecuador's box. Denzel Dumfries to retrieve the ball, and he's going to be the man to get us going. Gakpo showing, but Dumfries seemingly not ready to get the ball into play, with others starting to make movements, and it is Gakpo again who makes that same run to come close. He's been forced wide, has just about kept it in, and wins this side another throw-in off Hincapié. Will be the Dutch again to stay on the front foot. Down on the right-hand side, Dumfries worked really hard against Senegal, as he always does, covers so much ground, likes to get in behind, gets the byline, and look for what more often than not are low crosses, especially today with no Janssen in the side. I think they did whip a few in for Janssen, but with no height really there, it's looking for those runners into the box. Yeah,
it's right. It's not just today you can swing it in. I think he's a bit agriculture. I know he's got a good engine, and he looks good in his kid, Denzel Dumfries, but I'm not sure he's that good a footballer really. I think he's a bit limited, but anyway, you always need a few of them, don't you? Solid citizens in your team, and he's certainly one of those.
Ball at his feet, clears away, and the pressure from 2 to the halfway line, trying to keep it alive as Estrada has stayed in Ecuadorian possession. Going down a little bit easily there, but he gets the free kick nonetheless. Referee from Algeria in charge today, Mustafa Gorbal. Ecuador will have this free kick just 10 yards or so inside their own half. Back to Hincapié, and dropped off then to Felix Torres, who anchors the back 3 for Ecuador. Across to the right-hand side and carried forward by Jackson Porozo. Exchanges passes with Estrada. back into their own half they go momentarily. The Dutch defending a little bit deeper than Ecuador maybe were, but they're now looking to try and apply the press to Estepinian and Valencia. A player all over his back, he's been robbed of the ball, carried forward by the Netherlands, and Dumfries wants the free kick there. Went down, the ball was then kicked at him. Referee didn't feel there was any foul. He's happy for Ecuador to go on, but I think Dumfries wants a moment to try and recover from this.
Yeah, he ran through a brick wall there, look, head down, off I go. And then he runs into Torres, and he's going down at that point. Torres blams the ball into him. No blame, as I said. Anyway, yeah, he was never going to make that stick, but a lot of ambition in that. Just got his head down, didn't he? And like I said, he's a strong lad. Came off second best there.
It's going to be a sore one. It was smashed right into the rib cage and no protection. So maybe winded a little bit as we see Memphis Depay on the bench, the star man for the Netherlands, applying the tape around his wrists and getting himself prepared in case he is going to make a cameo. You'd expect that he will get 20-30 minutes like he did in the group opener. Chance to blow off a few cobwebs and get himself minutes under the belt for bigger challenges ahead. May well start against Qatar potentially, but again, Louis van Gaal might see that as a bit of a dead rubber as well and just give him a run out towards the end. We'll see how it develops as Ecuador win another free kick just over the halfway line. Chances few and far between since we got that opening goal. Been mired down a little bit in the midfield. A couple of chances in the wide areas for Ecuador that haven't transpired into anything, but the goalkeeper has been forced into a save since that ball hit the back of the net 6 minutes in. See the Dutch fans enjoying themselves on their trip over to Qatar. Drum banging in the stands and decked out as usual in their bright orange garb as Enner Valencia has it on the halfway line. Back into his own half with Estepinian, it goes down. Another free kick for Ecuador. I wonder if referee might be starting to consider a card. There's lots of niggly challenges that are going in, nothing over the top, but they all accumulate. Ecuador take the free kick short, out to the right hand side with Barroso. Back to his goalkeeper Galindez. This time on the ball just on the edge of his D. Rolls it through to Felix Torres. To meet him is Bergwijn, and back out to the right hand side of defence with Barroso, and dropping in to show was Caicedo. Nice to skip away from the challenge of Cute Miners, but he's tracked all the way, so they have to find a different route to try and come forward. And we're midway through this first half as Ecuador just playing it around in their defensive area. Netherlands with a 1-0 lead. In fact, they send it forward straight through though to Noppert. So perfect time to hand over. Netherlands 1, Ecuador 0. John will take you to the break.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. Just one goal in it, an early goal settled the nerves. Cody Gakpo with a great strike. Moises Caicedo given the ball away, looked like he won it, and just came off his toe end. Here's Bergwijn, we haven't mentioned much of him, but anyway, back at Ajax. There's a little heel there. I think that came off Preciado, but he doesn't get the decision. We've not really mentioned either of the keepers yet today. Andries Noppert from Heerenveen. I couldn't tell you, I don't think I've ever seen him. Anyway, we'll have to break off now because one other player we haven't mentioned, Gonzalo Plata, puts a good-looking ball into the box. Eventually blocked away. Caicedo's with the strike. That's blocked by Cute Miners. Ball might come back for Ecuador out on the left-hand side. Estepinian. They've worked it round the corner. Here's Caicedo driving into the box. Too much he wanted there. His cutback's not bad though, and then a challenge comes in. Just as it looked like they were lining up there. Plata was in the box. I was going to say to you, we haven't mentioned either keeper, and we haven't mentioned Gonzalo Plata. But for the moment I said that, Plata's been so heavily involved, it's untrue.
Yeah, just emerges there, doesn't he, in the final third. And it was a really nice move that they put together there. A little 1-2 down the left, looking for the cut back into the box and trying to test the Netherlands' defence. As you say, we've not mentioned either keeper, but Noppert was really key against Senegal, made some big saves in that match, and he not made them. The Netherlands would have been trying to come from behind in that game, but ultimately they were able just to go on and put themselves into the lead late on and get the win. But this just his second cap for his country and not fazed by it.
Here we go again. Hincapie, the ball played around the corner. Estepinian's ball in. He's nodded away by Van Dijk and then further headed clear by Cute Miners. But they're showing a badge of spirit, and fair bit of class as well. Latri, Ecuador, the tricolour. They're playing a decent brand of football, but Valencia this time just stopped in its tracks. Long ball for the Dutch doesn't trouble anybody. There's Herman Galindez, the O.A.T keeper, comes out. So I think their fans are fairly happy. They've seen a response from the team, and it's actually allowed them to get on the front foot in this half. You know, sometimes when you've got a game like this, you think, oh, you know, we might end up getting dominated today. If you're going to concede, you might as well concede early, and it's kind of got Ecuador going straight away, hasn't it? I could see them getting back in the game. They continue like this. Oh, they're fouled in the middle of the park there, and Timber, not the first time he's put one in, and he chopped down at Michael Estrada, and the referee needs to get a grip of this a little bit. I mean, again, there's another foul just before that from Denzel Dumfries, but that was a doozy from Timber.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he maybe got a little bit of the ball, but he definitely comes through the man, and I think it is a foul. We're looking back at that chance at the other end. Cross coming into the box, and Noppe had kind of come, and it went beyond Tim van Dijk having to do the hard work at the far post and clear away. But definitely asking questions, Ecuador. As you say, Netherlands can't feel comfortable in this game at the moment.
Yeah, Caicedo turns the ball around the corner, but Plato hasn't got a motorbike, so he's not going to get at the end of that. Netherlands 1, Ecuador 0. Listen to independent off-tube studio commentary from the game that's been very easy on the eye. You always want an early goal, don't you? Whichever way it happens for the neutral, it makes the game more exciting and it gets it going somehow. And really, it's just about the only thing the Dutch have done. As here again, Valencia, Caicedo. Ball's in the middle of the park. There are claims of a handball, but the ball won back now by Ecuador, who are really giving it a red-hot crack here. They go round the back again. Valencia, ball into the box. Little heel. It won't quite break through. And in the end, they'll get the ball back from Preciado through the box there. And that little heel just took it away from Plata, who was in there.
Yeah, it was Plata with the heel, wasn't it? Who came across onto the edge of the 6-yard box and I think just tried to promote it on. I don't know if he was looking for one of those flicks towards goal, but we'll see it again now. Valencia getting to the byline. Lovely low ball in there. Plata with the little flick, and I think he is just trying to help it on for anyone running on. No, in fact, it wasn't Plata, was it? It was Estrada. Yeah. Plata was in behind, as you said, couldn't get on the ball, and then it came across to the far side with Preciado, whose ball in was deflected away for the corner. But yeah, they're really up and at it now, Ecuador.
Yeah, they're easy on the eye. They're playing really good football, little triangles, and you know, moving the Dutch, who have they're trying to go man for man, but the movement's beating them at the moment. Anyway, it's a bit of a love train. They're now waiting for the corner kick to come in. Virgil van Dijk trying to hold them all at bay, but it's like trying to hold the tide of the sea. The ball comes in near post. That's been blocked away. And is it out for another corner? I think maybe it came off Cody Gakpo. Not sure, because they all seem to be moving away now. And it was just a throw. Preciado gets on the end of it though, and he's able to recycle the ball. Ecuador really giving it a go in this game. Daley Blind there putting the ball out. Ball recycled, and it is Parozzo who picks it back up. Then Felix, and then they're set to go again. Jackson Mendes with the longer ball, headed into the box, and then cleared away. Looks like maybe Estrada was offside in that. Estepinian showing up really well, the Brighton man early doors, making ground down the left-hand side. And I don't know quite why or how. We've really not mentioned Davy Klaassen, who needs to get on the ball a little bit more. Because he's playing centrally, he does really well there just to get rid of the ball. Now when they come forward, it looked like there was 3 against 3, it didn't work out. But the Dutch are very narrow today, aren't they? And so Ecuador, with their wing-backs and with the men up top, and trying to roll round and overlapping them. They've done that a couple of times. Here is Klaassen again. Again, he's striding forward with the ball. Doesn't work out, but it will break for them now. With Bergwijn into the area he goes. Blind looking to overlap. He can't quite get there. Parozzo closing him down. It's the Dutch now on the ball as they try and get the cross in. It's not being cleared away. Now it will be. And in the end, Hincapi just having to go safety first. That's a corner.
Yeah, first time they've had to do a bit of defending for a while, Ecuador. They've been the side that have been pressing forward, looking for an equaliser, but there's always going to be that threat from the Dutch. If they do get forwards, we saw it earlier, Gakpo didn't need much of a sight to unleash a powerful effort and get the opener. There are goal scorers in this team and big players up as well for this set piece.
Well, maybe trying to rile up the animal there, Barozzo and Van Dijk, but he's giving away maybe a stone and a couple of inches to him anyway. Gakpo puts the ball in, it's headed away by Felix, a little touch there, and now Valencia's on the run, finds an out ball, but Plata not going to get there. Gonzalo Plata again needed that invisible motorbike and he hasn't got it. But yes, it's a really cracking game of football. Goal on 6 minutes, Gakpo strike, undeniable. He really put his laces through it, and it came off the back of the net so hard. We thought he'd hit it wide and come off the snatch, and he really put his laces through it. I'd like to know how hard he hit that. Anyway, it was firm. If you're going to be an attacker, then nowadays you've got to add goals to your portfolio, don't you, before anybody wants to spend the big bucks on you. Can't just be a winger anymore. There's a little bit of contested play. Timber gives a shove to Estrada, who's not a small man himself, but just free kick given to the Netherlands there. And a ball roll back to Andries Noppert. He's a big fella as well. 6'8" he is. I like the height. Anyway, none taller than him out there, and he looked big, didn't he? The last game I did was Qatar, and there was a header that beat their keeper today, and I thought, well, he looked small. And you know how on Wikipedia they're always 6 foot. This is the first goalkeeper who actually wasn't 6 foot. Anyway, Gakpo just robbed the ball at the edge of the area. 5'11" their goalkeeper today. Displaced the man who's 6'2" in that Qatar team, and they might have done it today. Anyway, you hear Ecuador again, edge of the area. Valencia with a strike. Oh, it's a good save by the big man. Noppert got across, got that long telescopic arm to that. Pretty sure that shot from Valencia was going in.
Yeah, it's a really good effort, isn't it? He's only got one thing in mind once he receives that ball, and it's to get it onto his right foot any which way and unleash a shot, which is on target. It's dipping, it's bending towards the bottom corner. It's coming through a couple of bodies as well, so Noppert has got to be smart and quick to get down. Solid hands to it. Away for the corner.
Yep, so an opportunity then. Estepinian with the ball in, but there's the defensive header just before Michael Estrada could get his head to that. Ball put back in, and Dumfries heads away. The flag didn't go, but I thought that Estepinian was offside there, and maybe that's been given because we're marching away from that. Well, the Dutch may have the lead, but the Ecuador team have got the momentum here. And they've got the fans behind them because they're playing some knockout football. The only thing they've not been able to do is beat the keeper, but they've been in the box, they've got round the back, they've played really well.
Yeah, they have. They've looked as though they're a match for the Netherlands. They've got two contrasting styles, but you could argue, aside from the Netherlands scoring their goal, they haven't looked that threatening in the final third, whereas Ecuador have got forwards on several occasions. That their best chance through Ana Valencia just a moment ago, but they're getting lots of bodies forward and they're committing to the attack. Just looking at how they performed in qualifying for the competition, you think they've got Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay who all finished ahead of them, but they scored 27 goals. It was only Brazil who scored more than them. They conceded 19. Again, it was only Brazil and Argentina who had a better defensive record. So they've got the ability at both ends of the field. And today they're showing that. Yes, they've conceded a goal, but going forwards, they're ready to flood the bodies into the final third.
Yeah, out of that South American group, we tend to be used to Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay as well, and then Burma anyone out, 5 or 6 teams out of the rest, but it's usually not Ecuador, is it? So, fair play to them for even getting to where they are. Dumfries puts a good ball round the corner. I thought it looked good, but in the end, nobody can get to it, and so that rolls out of play. And the Dutch had gone a goal behind, and then we thought there'd be a reaction from Ecuador, but it's been more than that. They've got the machine rolling somehow, and now it looks like they're very much in the game. for the Dutch, despite scoring, and been a weird first half for them, but to take a minute 1-0, I guess they'd be happy and can regroup if they need to. And Hall is a man, he's hard to work out. He's very technical minded with what they need to do. As Valencia rolls again, and this time he's stopped by Durin. Timber just gets a foot in there. Ball again given away. Great work again by Estepini, and then Caicedo, his Brighton teammate, ball into midfield. Plata then rolls it out to the right hand side for Jackson. Then into midfield, and again Estepini, and he just looking for targets. 2 into the box as the ball comes in, but the big man comes out. Noppert won't be denied there, and that's a benefit of being such a big guy.
Yeah, come and claim those high balls and make life a little bit easier for your defenders. A big opportunity for him as well to establish himself as the number 1. When you look at the 3 keepers they've got in the squad, the Dutch, Hasveer is 39 years old. He's not going to be around for the next World Cup, you'd imagine. They're called up Justin Bidgelow as well, who's only got 6 caps, and Noppert making his 2nd appearance today. So it's up for grabs, that number 1 jersey, for a few years to come, and he's covering himself well in this World Cup so far.
Yeah, he's doing okay, isn't he? Had a decent game. That save he made from Valencia, you would expect him to make it, but it's that typical, that being a bit of a cliche, with a big man, he got down well. So far, Ecuador have had the ball in and around the box, are forced to save out the keeper, but maybe they need the key ingredient, which is just a little bit of luck. As Estepinian goes back to Torres, he finds Porozzo. He now controls the ball. He's got Preciado, but he doesn't use him. Finds Jackson Mendes, the man who plays his football in Los Angeles. Again, Ecuador making good ground. Some of the guys, they play their football in Mexico. The guys out in the Premier League, Caicedo there, just adjudged to have fouled his man, and referee intervenes, and then Caicedo won't let the Dutch take the free kick quickly. Let's all have a heated debate after that, but what the referee's doing there, Frankie de Jong talking with Caicedo, explaining the finer points of football to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wasted breath, isn't it? Get back into position and deal with what's going to come afterwards. Referee's made his call. They're giving up on speaking to him and decided to fight it out between themselves.
Anyway, funny that Caicedo wasn't going to let him take it quickly. By the time they all stopped chatting, that minute is gone. Anyway, here now is Nathan Aki looking for the long ball of go-aheads, but Porozzo wins the first one, and then that's a bit of desperation after. Hincapi just about gets there under massive pressure and tickles that ball out. Netherlands 1, Ecuador 0, 38 minutes on the clock. It's been a really good game, this. The Dutch scored, but Ecuador more than just a bounce. I think what we could say is that they played well in this first half in its entirety almost. Here they come again. Good work out to the left-hand side, and Caicedo now again bombing on. We know him as a defensive screen, really, but he's sure he's got the talent to play wherever he wants to go. Anyway, the ball with Plata at the edge of the area, roll back to Estepinian, but then Plata caught in midfield, wanted too long of the ball, as out comes Hincapi, but that's a foul this time on Bergwijn, who hasn't seen much of the ball. He's got a lot of pace about him, but he really has not been involved. He's not the next Mark Overmars, is he? Bags at pace, but just needs to get involved a little bit more, this fella.
Yeah, it was good footwork from him there. Picked it up on the halfway line, back to goal, and just moved it from one foot to the other. Kept it away from Hincapi and drew the foul. Possibility to release the ball and send Gakpo on his way, but the Dutch with a lead at the moment, they'll take those chances to break up the game if they can, and hope that they can remain in control on the scoreline.
So far, Ecuador have got 3 points for their victory over Qatar in the first game of the tournament on that Sunday. It seems like an age ago now. Get to the point where I wonder what I'm going to do after the World Cup. Just watching so many games and enjoying it.
That'll be Christmas.
Yeah. Anyway, this one is a decent game. I enjoyed the game earlier with Senegal, who just won to 11, was stronger. And Qatar, who had some heroic performances today, 2 or 3 of their players really caught the eye, but it wasn't quite enough. Anyway, Ecuador here showing real quality in open play, keeping the ball, but not just you know, tiki-taka. There's a dynamism about them when they go forward. You know, stylish and dynamic. Good to watch, really. But now they find themselves going back to their keeper, Galindez, after I've said all that. Torres on the ball. Still goes it out with his feet. The Dutch were firing into challenges early, but they know they've been in the game. They're a little bit more tired. The ball floated over the top, and Van Dijk has it back where it came, but that will be an Ecuador throw at about the halfway line. 41 minutes in, and Estepinian looks for targets. And he does have Jason Mendes. Moses Caicedo. He targets to aim at. Estepinian pointed. He wants it further forward if he can. Finds Caicedo. What's the referee given now? I don't know. How about you, ref? Anyway, Valencia involved there, and Timber perhaps, don't know what went on there. And he's allowing the throw to be taken again, is he?
It looks that way, and not a clue what happened. I wasn't sure if it was a foul throw and he was pulling it back and giving it the other way, but no, it's going to be a restart from an Ecuador throw.
Yeah, and good skills there from Valencia, but then the layoff not quite all it should be. Should really give a chance for Plata. And again, it's not easy to run through Denzel Dumfries or indeed run round him. He's that big. Anyway, still 1-0 to the Flying Dutchman, who pretty much been stopped in their tracks today. Edgar Davids, one of those in the management team, who's the buffer between the manager and his team. Always strikes me as a man who's quite difficult to form to. Around Hall, but he won't care. His team are winning. Ball just over the top, and out comes the keeper again. And again, it's Caicedo. Very difficult to sort of mark him. You don't know where he's going to pop up next. This time he's furthest forward as Noppert's forced to clear the ball out. Torres heads it back. Valencia now lovely skill and control under pressure. As soon as I say that, comes off his toe end and the ball's out. I remember Valencia being a good player, West Ham and Everton, and you know, he just didn't score enough goals in the Premier League, did he, really?
No, didn't quite work out for him as they maybe hoped it would, and he seems happy now, doesn't he? Playing for his national side and always seems to deliver for them when he gets the opportunity. Could have had a hat-trick in that opening group game, did score 2, one was ruled out for offside, and you feel that they need to get him involved a little bit more in that final third. We've seen him with that one chance, once he was able to get it in and around the box, quickly shifts it onto his right foot, gets the shot away, but too often he's out in the wide areas. He's not finding himself within the width of the box, and there's too much work for him to do. So I think that's maybe something they could look to tweak into the second half. But as you say, with Caicedo as well, he's having a great game, popping up all over the place, and now out on the right-hand side, having seen him on the left and through the middle at times. He's just making life difficult for the Dutch.
He is, and he's such a fit young fellow, isn't he? 21. As the long ball now, straight to the old bread basket of Galindez came out and did well. I saw Caicedo, I just couldn't believe how, you know, his age really. He looks so mature, and with Bissouma in midfield at Brighton, I just thought, what a classic there. And I didn't know which one was going to go first and get the big move. And then of course Bissouma goes to Spurs, and his manager doesn't seem to want to play. But I think Caicedo is probably going to end up Man United or something like that, I would reckon, because they all want something like that, don't they?
Well, there's a lot of talk of Chelsea, with obviously Graham Potter having already worked with him and signed him at Brighton, that he knows of the ability and the talents, and we'll get him in at Stamford Bridge before long, so that might be the most likely. But as you say, if not Chelsea, he's going to be on his way somewhere else, and Brighton will have a tidy little figure coming in.
Well, Man City probably don't need the new Fernandinho. Got Calvin Phillips and Rodri to this, so I think more Man United, but he's definitely going somewhere big, isn't he? Dare say Liverpool could play like that as well.
Yeah.
I think if he was available, they'll all be after him, wouldn't they? They've got the money, as Bergwijn holds the ball up. He comes off the heel of Dumfries, and he is then held up and just about got away with that, didn't he, Piero Hincapié? Dumfries, his time got a long way around him, but he nearly nicked the ball off him. By Leverkusen man, Piero Hincapié, not small himself, but just dwarfed then by the bigger man. Wonder how many minutes we're going to get of added time. There's not been many stoppages really. There shouldn't really be any more than 3 minutes, should there? But I don't know.
No.
Anyway, long ball over the top, and Stepinian to the byline. We're into 3 minutes of added time, and the cross is blocked away by Denzel Dumfries. The ball out from Van Dijk. Misses his mark, but well, there was a foul apparently on Bergwijn from the number 3, Hincapié. That means it will be a free kick for the Netherlands. We still need 1-0, and we're into added time, which there is 3 minutes, and I think that's just about right.
Yeah, seems fair enough to me, and I do wonder, it'll be interesting to see as the competition goes on, whether players realising that every time you do play act and stop, it's going to be added on. It's not like usual, whether it does start to impact and we see those timings come down, because there's been a lot of goals, especially late in games. We saw it twice earlier today in Wales-Iran, 2 goals after 90 minutes that got Iran a 2-0 victory. We've seen a few earlier in the tournament in additional time of matches that are pretty crucial, so players need to wise up to it. You're not going to get away with these time wasting tactics now.
No, seemingly not. But whether players are that swift to realise that's another thing. I mean, they still put their hands up for offsides and that, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, you think, well, it all gets sorted VAR or not in this tournament, as the case may be. Last game we did, Qatar had absolute stonewall penalty that wasn't given by Matthew Lahose, or indeed VAR. And I can forgive the referee making a mistake. He's got one vision of it. He might even have blinked at the wrong time. But not for VAR, who can look 4 or 5 different angles to say, why? He made the right mess of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, free kick for Ecuador. Ball into the box is a good one, and the header comes in, and that's bundled clear by Ake. Valencia then rising for it. Not the biggest man, but his game is anything, and rose high, and it came off Ake, and that'll be a corner.
It was a great header he scored against Qatar in the opening game. Bullet one across goal, and it's put perfectly on a plate for him here. Nice whip ball deep to the far post, which is a rises well, gets up ahead of Ake, and it's the direction. I think he's looking to put it across goal, looking at that. If not, he's just got his angles wrong, but comes off the back of Ake and away for the set piece, and ending the half on the front foot.
I mean, we saw the keeper there sort of make a step towards it, and I think, oh, even I'm not going to get there. It was a really good ball in. Anyway, corner kick, Ecuador, maybe last chance saloon then. There's only about 20 seconds left in this first half. Again, the Ecuadorian love train putting pressure on Virgil van Dijk, who looks like he's trying to hold 4 people at bay. When the ball comes in through the box, shot comes in, and then it's deflected. It's into the back of the net. They've got the equaliser. Oh, off they go, celebrating with Pervis Estepinian, the Brighton man, who got the last touch on that. Probably last action of the half. Oh, arms out now. What are they saying? Is it offside? Has that goal been ruled out? I don't know. Did the flag up far side? Looks like the goal's been chalked off. Estepinian wants to know why. Was he offside? How did that happen? Let's find out.
Yeah, whipped in low at the near post, cleared away. It was just drilled back, and it's a flick leg from Estepinian. He doesn't look offside to me. When that ball comes in, there are plenty of bodies behind him. It's whether it comes off someone else. Is he interfering with play there? Is that what they're trying to say? Jackson Perozzo in the line of sight of the goalkeeper, who for me had actually dived the wrong way anyway. He was going after the initial shot. It was diverted the other way by Estepinian.
They were never going to get that, were they?
No.
You know, he was wrong-footed by deflected effort in. Why that's chalked off, I don't understand it. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some reason to come up with. Perozzo, wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately. And, well, that was really going to set the cat amongst the pigeons now. And Estepinian is absolutely so angry there. But anyway, the referee's blown his whistle. It's Netherlands at 1, Ecuador 0 at the break.
At half-time, it is Netherlands 1, Ecuador 0. Cody Gakpo with the only goal of the first half, a rocket of an effort from his left boot with just 6 minutes on the clock to get the Netherlands ahead. But it's been a real good response from Ecuador, who actually had the ball in the back of the net on the stroke of half-time. A shot coming from the edge of the box. It was flicked on by Purvis Estebunian into the back of the net, but then ruled out for offside. Somewhat controversially, maybe a suggestion that someone was interfering with the goalkeeper's eyesight. It's 1-0. with the goal after 6 minutes separating the two sides. We're just waiting for the Netherlands to get us back underway for the second half. They've made a change ahead of the restart. Steven Bergwijn has gone off, and it's Memphis Depay on the man who they will be hanging a lot of their hopes on as the competition progresses. Chance for him to get a 45 minutes under his belt here as he continues to build his way up to full match fitness. See much of Steven Bergwijn in the first half, so maybe not too much of a surprise that he's the one to go off.
No, he didn't necessarily play that well, did he? Not that he saw much of the ball, just couldn't get involved in it. I think I remember at some point saying to you, he needs to get the ball a bit more, just a non-entity. Memphis Depay didn't do that well, did he, in the Premier League? I thought at that point in his career, the challenge was too much. And you're coming up against international class defenders, you know, every game, aren't you? And he didn't shine, so, you know, maybe he's a bit longer in the tooth, a bit more meat on the bone and all that. But last time I saw him, distinctly unimpressed. I know that's a while ago now, but you know, yeah, so be it. They rate him, and we'll wait and see whether he can have, you know, a big say in what goes on in this World Cup. But I doubt it, really.
Record for the Netherlands is pretty good. 42 goals in 82 caps. As we said earlier, he was the top scorer, joint top scorer with Harry Kane in European qualification, 12 goals. But coming into the competition, he'd not played a game since he turned out for the Netherlands back in September in the Nations League. He came off 51 minutes into that victory over Poland, has since not played for Barcelona, and got 29 minutes last time out against Senegal. So slowly working his way up, it seems. 45 minutes plus he'll get here, whatever we have on top of that. But we're underway for this second half, 2 minutes in, and it's Ecuador who've got an early free kick. Manu had the ball in the back of the net, just shy of the half-time break. Pervis Estepinian is going to take it, whipped into the box, or to the edge of the box, headed down and away from goal by an Ecuadorian, and Estrada finds a teammate, swung back in. Estepinian's emerging on that far side, but now comes O.A.T to claim, as he did several times in the first half.
Yeah, we talked about his size, 6'8", he comes when he claims, you know, that's great for his centre-backs. They don't have to do half as much work. He'd seemed tempted out once and he didn't quite get it, and then they were under pressure. Yeah, Ecuador certainly had their chances in that first half, and we felt that they were dead unlucky with the goal that was chalked off. You know, Jackson Poroso just got in the way, didn't he, really? But you know, it's unwitting that really as well. He was just dead unlucky, wrong place at the wrong time. Ball hit the back of the net, nothing the keeper was going to do, regardless of Poroso being his eye line or not. It was a deflected shot in, and really we feel certainly the spirit of that half, it should have been one apiece.
Certainly got reason to come out in the second half with their heads held high. Be pleased with how they responded to falling behind so early in that first half, and didn't really concede any other major chances aside from the goal. It wasn't as though goalkeeper Hernan Galindez was worked regularly by the Dutch. I think that, of course, Louis van Gaal may be looking to change with the introduction of Depay. As Noppert takes a touch here and took too long. He did get rid, but right at the very last split second, far too casual. That would have been in mouths there from a Dutch perspective. And here come Ecuador forwards now. The edge of the box, Estepinian with a shot saved, but turned home by Valencia. The Netherlands appealing that it's offside. Flag looks to have stayed down for now, and it's the Netherlands 1, Ecuador 1.
Yeah, they're just so lively in the middle of the park when they won the ball there. I think it might have been Frankie de Jong turning into trouble, but either which way, they didn't have enough time. And then it's 3 against 3. And then it's a good decision from Estepinian. He's got players on his inside, but he thinks, right, let me put my laces through this. And although his shot saved, he just pushed back out into traffic. And I think Valencia did well to make sure he stayed onside, and then he just got a touch in. He's in the box just waiting for it, waiting for the ball to drop. He'll buying himself a ticket. Anyway, the Dutch seem to be waiting for VAR to do something, but nothing's going to happen this time around. I don't think they're going to be chalking that goal off. Yeah,
Van Dijk's put the ball down on the edge of his own 6-yard box. He's now walking out the box with it, but he put the ball down there and was screaming to the referee, expecting that we're going to check it, and overrule a goal. We've not yet seen a replay. We're just looking at it now. It is, as you said, De Jong who played an awkward ball into midfield. It was taken off the Dutch there and falls to Estepinian. His shot is a good one, and Valencia is onside. He's the right side as far as Ecuador are concerned of O.A.T, and the goal legally stands.
Exactly. I mean, he timed it just right. For me, I think that's really sloppy from Nathan O.A.T. I think you hope that the keeper's going to hold on to it or push it round the post, but if he doesn't, what's going to happen? You know, both him and Van Dijk could have been stood off and played Valencia offside for the rebound, but they didn't. And there you go, Valencia just on the shoulder. I don't know if he was aware of how it was going to work out. Sometimes you just, try and bust the gut to get there, but he, just as the ball was shot by Estepinian, he was just slightly behind Nathan O.A.T, and therefore, that goal stands. But they've been really good value for that, haven't they?
One thing to note as well, we saw it in their goals they scored against Qatar, but likewise there, when a goal is scored, every player on the pitch and every sub seems to come and get in a circle, and as a team they celebrate, all point up to the sky, and there seems a real unity about this Ecuador side, and we've seen that throughout this game so far. They fell behind and have worked hard as every man together to force their way back into it. They've got the reward now. As we said, arguments that they maybe should have been level at half-time, they've not let that affect them, and heads to drop, that they feel the world's against them. They come back and they've scored minutes into the second period.
You know what, this for me has got shades of the Euro final about it so far. England score early and then when they're frightened of losing, and then they don't do themselves any justice after that. They allowed Italy to come back into the game, any penalties and all that. Here, what happened to the Dutch was they scored early and it's like, we better try and hang on to it. Well, that's just allowed Ecuador to gain traction and get into the game. Then when the goals come, it's like, yeah, of course it's going to come. They've really got going, and the machinery was working, wasn't it? And it was like, right, okay, off we go. And that was almost like the rally cry for them, that early goal for the Dutch. Didn't help the Dutch, really helped Ecuador, and now it's one apiece. And I just wonder if the Netherlands can properly get back into this game. I suspect they can, but they've been sleeping for such a long time in this game.
6 goals now for Valencia in 5 World Cup finals appearances. Incredible. 5 games at World Cup finals, I should say. Incredible record that he's got there. All-time leading scorer for his country. The Ecuador fans are on their feet and rightly enjoying themselves. The group they were drawn in, I think they'd have fancied that they had a chance of getting out of it. Qatar, everyone would have looked at as the team that would likely finish bottom. That looks to be the case, but Senegal, Ecuador, maybe battling it out for second, and Netherlands top. Who knows? Ecuador might even pick the Dutch to top spot if they continue this way. And they're coming forwards now with Estepinian breaking down the left. Scoot Miners, who will come and make the challenge, out for a throw-in to get involved in a little bit of a tussle. He's stolen 5 yards or so there, the Bridesman man, but his throw didn't find a teammate, so nothing won from it as Felix moves it forward now, helped on by Preciado. Can't find Valencia this time. O.A.T sweeps it up, exchanges passes with De Jong, and then opens it up to the left-hand side with Daley Blind. He bends one, or tries to, round the back, but coming across was Perozo, heads into touch for the throw-in. And they'll feel that the game is there for the taking now, Ecuador. As momentum is in their favour. O.A.T has been brought down here off the ball, so we are going to get a free kick.
I think just watching it and considering the group, different strands of the world, aren't they? South America, and then you've got Europe, obviously, and Africa with Senegal, and then Arabia and all that. And you just think, oh wow, it all comes together, and then it's just 11 against 11, and it's Saudi Arabia have proven on any given day, any team got that spirit, a bit of quality about them, can maybe cause an upset. Japan, their victory over Germany was a little less surprising, I felt, this time around. But it's just a World Cup, and it's been fantastic this time around. And you're always surprised. You talk somebody up and say, oh, they're good, and Depay's good, and and it's the Dutch and all that. But sport doesn't care about that. Football doesn't care about what the Dutch used to be or their reputation going into the tournament even. It's about how they take it on. And Ecuador have grabbed this game, by the short curlies. After they went a goal down, it's been all Ecuador. they've been fantastic, and I just wonder whether the Dutch here can find an answer. So they're all looking around. You know, they need to play better. That goal, it's almost like a millstone hanging around the neck, and it shouldn't be like that, should it?
Yeah, I think we can be guilty sometimes of the European bias. We see the European nations more often than any of the other nations we see at the World Cup. We see players involved in European domestic football more often. Only 9 players within the Ecuador 26-man squad who play their football in Europe, and several of them not even really at the highest level in the European leagues, the top 5 domestic leagues. So there's definitely an argument to be made, as you say, that it's worthwhile, the strength of the unity within the side coming to the fore here for Ecuador, as they have just been unable to make the most of a chance this time round down the right-hand side. Van Gaal has made 1 change already. You wonder if he's considering further reinforcements to his side as this one develops. When you look at the bench, there isn't a huge amount there in terms of depth for the Netherlands. Striking options, Wout Weghorst and Vincent Janssen. So Janssen in the opening game against Senegal didn't really do much. Wout Weghorst,
Too big.
different style, isn't it? Yeah,
very much so. Well, they might have to be a bit more direct and go at it like that. But they're struggling to get on the ball still. The momentum is with Ecuador fighting for everything, but there's a foul. In fact, a couple of fouls in the middle of the park. Referees wanting play to go on here, but I'll tell you what, it was going to take an awful lot for that particular attack to stick, wasn't it? And in the end, Gakpo goes down, but Depay being chopped down earlier in the piece. And nobody waves a magic wand over your team just so you can go forward. Everyone's having to fight for it, aren't they? Spain obviously were impressive. England impressive so far, but that's won the game. You know, they could still end up with a bloody nose tonight from the United States, who they've never beaten in the World Cup. You know, only 2 opportunities, but it is what it is. It should be this hard-fought contest, and I love it when we see players that we don't normally see, you know, that you can get excited about. Anyway, card shown there to Jackson Mendes, the man who plays in the MLS. Preciado down as well, but he's just got up off the deck, and Daley Blind having a bit of a laugh at his expense. Let's take a look at Mendes' challenge. Yeah, through the back, but he got a bit close in on Memphis Depay. I don't think he did slaughter through the back of him there. I mean, he got a yellow card for that. Misses the next game. I think he's a little bit unlucky now.
There's a few players that are already walking that tightrope. Just takes 2 yellow cards to see you suspended for the next game, as the ball is sent into the box here from that resulting free kick headed away by Ana Valencia, the goal scorer for Ecuador. Here is Mendes, the man who gave away that free kick, who lays it back to Preciado. Long ball forward, trying to seek out a teammate, and Plata will at least keep the defenders honest as it's put into touch for a throw. Gakpo the deepest of them there.
Yeah, I mean, he's prepared to work hard for his team. Fair enough. Wonder if Ecuador are about to make a change. One or two slightly on the go slow. It's the first time in the game that they've been slow to a stop almost. Gustavo Alfaro now got work to do. You know, they've got back in the game. Can they keep their momentum, or do they feel now that it's kind of job done? Do they just start padding it back, because they really have the bit between their teeth? He would be desperate for them to continue in that vein if they could. They've just taken a little bit of a breather the last couple of minutes though.
Here they come down the right-hand side. Crossing chance for Preciado. Blint is alongside him, trying to close off that angle for the moment. He's dancing around the ball, Preciado. Now does deliver. Low ball, Valencia's shot blocked. Still a chance, and it's off the bar. Comes back out to Valencia. The move is still alive here for Ecuador. Valencia's cross blocked, and then Van Dijk clears away. Good distance on it this time. It allows the Netherlands the chance to reset. The Depay can't keep it alive. It's out for a throw-in. Well, it was initially Ana Valencia with a drilled effort. I think it was Plato, was it? Plato with the final shot that came back off the bar, inches away from taking the lead.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, Preciado was messing it about there. Thought, well, you're not going to get around Daley Blind doing all that nonsense. And he did. And his cutback was great, wasn't it? Valencia's shot, I don't know if that was going to be on target, but the next one, so close, beats the keeper, and Nopper comes off the underside of the crossbar. All that from a really good hit from the man from Valladolid. You know, really good hit. Beat the keeper, but needed a bit more luck. And that's what we talked about, the luck required sometimes. When they had that goal choked out off first half, you wondered if it was going to be their day, but they got back in it. If that hits the back of the net, then you know it is game on. But here come the Netherlands again, and they'll be stung by what's gone on. Again, great work, Caicedo. But I mean, the neutral fans who are watching this, almost willing that we go wrong, won't they? You know, they've suffered that early setback, but they've been brilliant since.
I think as you look at the group as well, as it stands, this game being a draw, Netherlands top on 4, Ecuador second on 4, Senegal third on 3, and then Qatar bottom with no points. A draw, the longer it goes on, is looking better for the Netherlands because they take on Qatar in their last game, so they'll think, well, there's 3 points in the bag. Whereas Ecuador have got to go up against Senegal, 2 sides battling it out, so you can probably expect the longer it goes, it's Ecuador here who are going to be pushing on for the win, and Netherlands might think, you know what, we've done well to get to this point. Let's hold for the draw.
If you got to the last game of the group, you told Ecuador that you just need a draw against Senegal to go through, but then it's almost a negative mindset.
Yeah.
You know, we try and hang on for grim death, and then you don't play your game. Here, they're playing a beautiful brand of football that's been induced by conceding an early goal. You know, and Gustavo Alfaro just getting a word out to him. He's asking his captain, I think, if he's all right. You know, whether Valencia, you know, how far, how deep he can go into this tournament, keep running out 90, 100 minutes, whatever his age. And the Ecuador fans, guess what? They're absolutely loving it, aren't they?
Ball in behind now, Estevinian at the byline. There's no one in the middle though as it arrives. Blint looks to hook it away. Emerging over his shoulder was Preciado. He couldn't keep it in play. It was just a hopeful ball into the box really there from the Brighton man as he got towards the byline. But still that press continues from Ecuador. We're over an hour in now. Second half has really flown by so far. Netherlands 1, Ecuador 1. Ecuador getting back on level terms through Valencia after going behind in the first half through Cody Gakpo's left-footed strike. And the Dutch appeared rocked in this second period. They have the ball at the moment with Virgil van Dijk. Liverpool man sends a long searching ball forwards, but it's dealt with by Barroso ahead of Depay into midfield with Mendes. Flicked around the corner there by Estrada, but no one able to latch onto it, and the Netherlands have it back through Daley Blind into Depay. Has to let off first time under pressure into De Jong. He's twisting left and right, the Barcelona man, to find where the space is. That space ends up back inside his own half. He's not allowed to make any yards forward. He does work a 1-2 with Van Dijk. That gets them out into space, and Koopmeiners has it up to his left-hand side with Blind. Depay in the pocket, central, midway through the Ecuador half of the field. Backs it away from Mendes, now looking to work a 1-2. Back onto it, just couldn't get the shot away. Too many bodies around him. It's up into the air off glass and headed out by Mendes and then flicked over the top, allowing Estrada to go on and chase it. Van Dijk is there in a good position, and he will clear away. Good competitive spirit here now from both sides. Headed down, and Clausen maybe caught a knock there. Depay looks to flick it up and over Felix Torres, but doesn't emerge with the ball on the other side, and Ecuador send it long again. The high ball is awkward and it's not dealt with by Timber. Valencia makes his way into the box, cut back, looking for Estrada. Shot is not firm enough through to Noppet.
Well, I don't think Valencia could do any more than that. Just tickle the ball and hope that Estrada could get in the end, and he could, but he was under that much pressure that he couldn't get a fair strike away. It's just football on the raggedy edge. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to this World Cup coming into it. I thought it's a stupid time for the World Cup. It's a stupid place for World Cup. But then we're watching this game, and all I'm looking at is 2 sets of 11 players giving it their all on a nice patch of grass, and you zone out everything else. Every once in a while you get the flavour of the fans in the stadium, which is great. You know, and other than that, I can forget where it's at and all the political wise and wherefore to just enjoy the football. And the football's been brilliant. It just reminds you, doesn't it? It's the World Cup. It's around it, you know, once every 4 years, and it means so much to the players out there, and they're absolutely giving it their all. It's just been a marvellous game so far.
It's on a knife edge as well. 1-1 as it stands. Nathan Ake coming forwards, finds Depay. Standing position, slows it down, and I think that's the difference between the two, isn't it? Ecuador get it forward with such energy when they break. For the Netherlands, it's also patient and pedestrian, and that's allowing Ecuador to get back into a defensive unit. They shuffle side to side. They don't leave too many gaps. Certainly when Netherlands get in and around the edge of the box, they have to recycle, come back and start over and over again. There's just not that energy.
Yeah, we saw in their last decent attack that Depay was willing to take on, lovely little burst forward, give and go, and he only just had the ball tickled off him by Jackson Mendes, almost taking it away, nicking it through the back of his leg. But you know what, Ecuador have worked really hard, but they had a lot of the ball, didn't they? They were driving forward. And I think that's taken the sting out of the Dutch team. But here we go, they're on the attack, the shot comes in, that's blazed over from the edge of the area. I think Koopmeiners it is, because I don't recognise him, so I'm guessing it's him. And he got right underneath that.
Yeah, not a well dispatched effort whatsoever by the Netherlands midfield. He's only scored once in his previous 10 appearances, the Atalanta man, and striking like that, you can see why. As anyone they would want it full to of that midfield, it's probably not him. Dutch fans looking somewhat subdued in the stands, and stark contrast to what we've seen from the Ecuadorian travelling faithful, who are making the most of their time out in Qatar, experience of being in World Cup competition. Memphis Depay is dripping with sweat, and suggests that the conditions, as expected, are very warm out there on the pitch. The match is certainly heating up, and a few Dutch fans trying to keep the atmosphere going with their barrel drums in the stands. Their players need a bit of inspiration from somewhere to try and wrestle the momentum back that they lost about 6 minutes into this game. Long ball forward now from goalkeeper Galindez. Up competing for the ball, two players. It's come down as a free kick though for the Netherlands. Virgil van Dijk adjudged to have been fouled there as he gets back to his feet. The Ecuador player is slow to do so. It might be Plata who has stayed down there. No, it's Estrada rather.
I mean, he's put himself about today, Estrada. He jumped into Van Dijk there and he's come off second. He's bundled into. He's a big man to take on like that.
Yes.
But you know what, Estrada's 6'2" and he's a big lad as well. So, he's got to throw himself about there. That's his job. If they fling the ball long, he's got to fight for it. You know, and Van Dijk's always going to be the favourite to win that. Anyway, in terms of possession, the Dutch pretty much getting on top of that. But I just think Ecuador have slowed down just a touch since they've got the equaliser. The game's a bit more even now, isn't it? And I think it might come down to subs. I think the Dutch looking to make changes, one or two perhaps, and finish the game strongly if they can.
Who that was on the bench getting prepared to come on. Was it Noah Lang maybe, the number 12 potentially, one of the forwards that they have got in reserve. He doesn't fit that bill of the type of players we mentioned before about Weghorst, Vincent Janssen. Noah Lang, a man who plays his football in Belgium with Club Bruges, another really new into the international stage, just 5 caps to his name so far and just 1 goal. It looks as though that's who Louis van Gaal is going to turn to. Who would be sacrificed, and we'll soon find out as ball goes out for a throw in here, and we're midway through the second half, so find out if and when that change is made and if and when we're going to get any further goals. With the score at Netherlands 1, Ecuador 1, it'll be John to take you to full time.
Yeah, really enjoyable game of football. Liz, Latry have done well. Ecuador playing with joie de vivre. The Netherlands scored early, and then it's all been very sort of tentative. Ooh, we're on a lead, and then eventually they conceded, and that was a just reward because Ecuador had played ever so well. You know, a certain joy about it, and like I said, it reminded me of the Euros final when England scored early but backed away from it, and then it was a shame that they did get that early goal. We're going to see that change now. Davy Klaassen is going off, and it's number 11 who is coming on.
Berghuis. Steven Berghuis. Yeah, I thought he was 12, mistaken as he was on the bench, but yeah, it's the number 11, Steven Berghuis. He, for me, looked really poor in the first game against Senegal. There was a reason why Davy Klaassen, who came off the bench in that one, started ahead of him today. So Louis van Gaal reverting back to that opening match and hoping Berghuis can perform some sort of miracle.
Yeah, they were pronouncing it Berghaus on the TV, so I'm thinking they might have got it right. You never know. So that's what I'm going with today, Berghaus. Say Berghuis. I say Berghaus. Anyway, here is Caicedo, and he flicks the ball forward. Can his man get on the end of it? Plata has popped up on the left and the right-hand side. He naturally is a winger, but he's doing a little bit more than that. I think has got a brief to roam around a little bit. Estrada's definitely playing through the middle, but Valencia and Plata just being told to go and affect the play. Estepinian playing well down the left, and Preciado has had a decent game. Caicedo popping up all over the shop, but it's up to the Dutch. They have to go and show if they are a team who deserve to get through this group, then go and do it. Into the box that they go. There's a little bit of scrap in there. Dumfries is strong though, strong enough to hold off would-be challengers. But then the ball into the box is a poor one, and absolute shoving the back on Estepini, and then from Gakpo should get a yellow card. No attempt to play the ball there. Is the referee giving him a card? I don't know.
It doesn't look like it. He's been really reluctant to go to his pocket today. First half was very competitive, and as you say, there's no attempt to play the ball. It's the wrong side, just an arm out. Doesn't want to chase back and pushes him over. They're the type of challenges at any point of a match that should warrant a booking, but nothing coming for Gakpo.
No, yeah, don't get it. There's referees from all over the shop have got very different ideas of what constitutes a free kick or not. So that first game for England, didn't we? The Uruguayan VAR. Didn't mind all in wrestling. Tiny little dip of the shirt. It's a penalty kick.
Yeah, I think that's the difficulty at World Cups, especially, like you say, to really get a gauge of cards and all that type of thing, how it's going to pan out in different games. Referees don't have that sort of level playing field of how they're used to working week in, week out. So, yeah, you've got to go game by game, really.
Yeah, looks like Ecuador are about to make a change as well. They've one or two players who've actually ran themselves into the ground in this game. Most of them have covered a lot of ground.
It's going to be the Brighton man, Jeremy Sarmiento, to come on. If my eyesight doesn't fail me again with the number, but I'm sure it was 16. So Sarmiento, another of the Brighton contingent in this Ecuadorian squad that's going to get his chance.
Yeah, absolutely. He was watching the other day, and almost entirely made up of Brentford players.
Denmark.
Yeah. Brighton via Ecuador. We're looking at the onside of Valencia, and we didn't need the graphic that we've just seen to know that he stayed on. But it was a good shot from Estepinian, down low and bouncing in front of the keeper. It's actually a decent save from the keeper, but it's just a Valencia. He's on it, isn't he? And the ball might break here for Ecuador into the box. The shot is blocked away from Caicedo, and then I think Hincapié's done well running across. Dumfries, I thought it fouled in there, but he didn't get it. Weirdly, just at half-time, we'll break off. Surely the flag's going to go up. An opportunity here for the Dutch. The ball ends up wide from Cody Gakpo. I thought he was offside by a mile. I don't know. The man on the outside had his flag down, who looks like he's the twin brother of the referee. Don't know. I don't know how we find out who the referee and the assistants are, because they look like they're related.
He's clearly offside, though. Just looking at that again, he's a good 2-3 yards off. He actually ran towards goal with the ball, twice looked over his shoulder to see has the flag gone up yet. Am I going to be flagged offside here? He put it wide anyway, so it didn't matter, but yeah, he was clearly off.
Right then, Jeremy Sarmiento is going to come on, and Michael Estrada, who's really put himself about, comes off. He's done well. A good game for him, and applauds the fans. Listen, when I went off, we joined. So Sarmiento comes on, and he will try and affect the game positively as well. I don't know if he'll play us further forward, will he?
They aren't brothers. I've got the referee's assistant and the referee, and no, it doesn't appear they're related.
Yeah, I'll go. Don't know how that works out. Is he his evil twin brother? Anyway, they look like peas in a pod, the referee and his assistant, and they were congratulating each other at the half just after Ecuador had a goal chalked off. I thought, hey, get a grip on yourself, lads. Anyway, some good defending by Jackson. Porozzo got the goal sign of his man, and there was no way around for Steven Berghuis. So Netherlands 1, Ecuador 1, 75 minutes on the clock, and well, the Dutch think tank are thinking. Van Gaal and Davids. Is that Danny Blind? I'm sure it is. Right to me. But
Stay quiet.
anyway, they're thinking about it. Ake wins the header. The ball thumped down the line. Nobody in particular though from Preciado.
He's Danny Blind.
Like I know something.
More than me.
We got a shocking memory for dates, names, and faces, all sorts now. 75 minutes gone though, and what I do remember is that we're one apiece and the game is poised. Almost to the tune though of at the moment, if you offered a point each to the two teams, they'd probably take it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so. As I mentioned before, I think the Netherlands would snap your hand off for a draw now. The pressure that they've been under, although Ecuador do seem to have lost a little bit of that momentum over the last 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe they've emptied the tank early second half trying to get back on terms, and then quickly after that trying to build from it. They've fizzled a little. That's not to say that they've got nothing to offer in these final 15 minutes, but I think the way the game was going, Netherlands, as I said before, with Qatar to come, will think, you know what, if we get a point here, a win against Qatar 7's enough to get us through. That will do. We've come through a test here. We'll learn our lessons from it, and we'll try and adapt to that sort of approach as the competition goes on. But Ecuador, I think, will want the win. Yes, a draw is good for them. It keeps them ticking over and competitive for that last game against Senegal. But if they can go into that with a win to their name here, 6 points on the board, knowing that a draw would be enough, a loss might even be enough, then they would probably take that.
Yeah, Senegal won without necessarily playing particularly well today. I'm disappointed with Ismail Assar, who I think he's a really good player when I see what they see, and he's definitely their star man and probably deserves a place in the Premier League. And really lifted the leg though when they were going down, and he didn't look like he's that keen, but for what it's worth, he stuck there. He didn't play well. Dyer came off the bench. They've got quite a big bench, and one or two players came off the bench and looked good. Pape Sarr, who's a youngster, thought he did ever so well. So there's a lot of strength and depth for Senegal. Long ball over the top, looking for Valencia, comes off his back there. He's not going to have quite the physical prowess that Estrada did leading the line. Sarmiento's peeled off left-hand side, but for the moment Estepinian is on the ball. It breaks away from them. Berghuis is desperately trying to get involved in the game, having come off the bench. He's popped up left and right now, but he hasn't found it. We'll see a couple of changes now for the Dutch. Energy drink and a look at what we expect from you before we chuck you on. Looks like Begos is one of them, the big man. That means that English Jansen's World Cup's over. So yeah, we want a big man, but not you, Big Vince. Anyway, Vegos is all right, I think. When first seen spotted in the Premier League, he played well for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he did okay, didn't he, at Burnley? I think it was difficult circumstances to come into, but he tried his best, and although the goals maybe didn't flow as freely as he would have liked, he was still getting good reviews for the all-round performance, stuff he was doing to stitch play together. 3 goals in 15 appearances for the Netherlands, not the best record, but they can get delivery into the box. Maybe it's an avenue for them to explore, but they've got to do that. We haven't seen them swing too many crosses in, as we said before. Maybe that's because the height wasn't there, but it's a different focal point to be looking for.
How many fouls does Durin Timber have to make before he goes in the book? Look at this. Oh dear. It's all over the back of Jackson in midfield, Jackson Mendes. Again, he looks up. Again, referee ignores him vaguely. Right, Cody Gakpo's going off for Weghorst. Yep, so that's one. And what's the other change?
It's Martin de Roon on for Koopmeiners.
Right, so Martin de Roon, another one who, is defensive-minded and there to help his team keep a clean sheet. I've heard Eric, our Norwegian, banging on about de Roon. He played at Atlanta for a while, has he?
Yeah, he's still at Atalanta at the moment. He's had a few injury issues of late, though, so a bit of an issue. But he was in England, wasn't he, with Middlesbrough, I believe it was.
Yeah.
didn't do too well there, went over to Italy and has really stepped up his game, so definitely developed in the years since we saw him in England.
Mr. Pinion tries to get the cross in there. It's the old double kiss, and he's dead unlucky. It came off his knee. He's gone out for a goal kick. Yeah, Martin de Roon was at Borough, wasn't he? In fact, went up for a corner. Yeah, he was there. He was in that team that was really dull and wasn't he? With the two Adams in Forshaw and the other fella and Martin de Roon all seemingly fighting in the middle in a team that had wing backs as well, back five, three holders. I can't remember the name of the fella who was in charge. Anyway, the corner kick comes in for Ecuador, deep through the box, headed away. And then the shot comes in, but at least as soon as mended about Preciado's effort. He was leaning back. I don't know if that took a wicked deflection or it was just a terrible shot. Just a terrible shot. So, there's about 10 minutes left of regulation play. I don't see, I mean, there've been a lot of changes, but we're probably looking at the moment with about 5 or 6 added minutes. I don't think there'll be that much more. As Caicedo picks it up. And then Sarmiento gets the touch. He finds Jason Mendes, just holds play up. He goes backwards. Hincapi, and then Torres, and then Barroso. We haven't seen much of the animal yet, have we? Looks like a normal footballer, Barroso. Nothing too fierce about him.
I feel like you sold me the dream when you told me ahead of kick-off his nickname was the Animal. He's been very well mannered.
Yeah,
barely a foot out of place.
I know, he's been polite, gentle. Anyway, Torres on the ball now. Finds Jackson Mendes. He's got 2 on the inner, and eventually finds Sarmiento, who took it off the boot end of Gonzalo Plata. Hincapi makes ground left-hand side. He's looking for the defence splitter, but it's straight through to Noppert, who comes and claims it. You know, I don't know. I think maybe a draw suits the game, but I also have an itchy feeling that maybe Ecuador might have deserved a little bit better than what they've got. I mean, they've had a goal ruled out as well.
Yeah, I think a win would be deserved for Ecuador. I don't think the Netherlands have shown much. They scored after 6 minutes, and since then I don't think we've really seen Galindez make a save. Ecuador have been all energy ever since. As you say, they had a goal ruled out. There was that big shot from Valencia in the first half that forced the save from Noppert down to his right-hand side. Of course, they've scored the equaliser. If you look at the chances, 2 shots for the Netherlands, 1 on target. 13 for Ecuador, 3 on target. Yes, they've had a lot over and wide and not testing the keeper, but they've at least had that bit more intent. They've got into the final third and got shots away. The Netherlands just simply haven't done that. Yeah,
I mean, it's pragmatic football, isn't it? And you know, it's sort of understandable, but yet you don't really want to see it thrive, do you? You know, you want something exciting and swashbuckling, and Ecuador have given us all that today. You know, I thought, oh yeah, so what? The beat Qatar. You know what I mean? Coming into this game, we'll see what they're all about. I'm really impressed with them. You know, we know the good players are good. You know, I remember Valencia being a decent player, and clearly he's one of those who stepped up. And talking about Valencia, well, there's the former Man United right back, isn't it?
Antonio, yeah, up in the stands watching on. His namesake, who's running the show nowadays for the country.
Yep, he was smashing. They haven't had a decent right back since, I don't think. Anyway, ball won by Palazzo up the field. In fact, no, it wasn't. It was Preciado. And then with Valencia, who, by every right, should be out his feet now, requiring oxygen. I don't know how he's done it, because he's covered every blade of grass today in Valencia. He's grabbed his goal as well. What more you need to do? But it's a proper skipper's knock.
Yeah, there was doubts over whether he'd even start the game as well. He limped off against Qatar with a bit of an injury. He was kicked from pillar to post after he'd scored his 2 goals, and I think about 15-20 minutes left to go in that game, he limped off the pitch. There were big question marks over him. His manager had said he'll be fine, it's all right, but he's not shown any signs whatsoever of carrying any injury if there is anything there. But they need him fit. I think they're a different team if they don't have him as the outlet, the poacher in front of goal, as we saw. They need him to lead from the front.
Yeah, the Dutch on the ball now, and with Frenkie de Jong trying to make something work. The Barca man puts his foot over the ball, and eventually he can see Daly Blind on the left, and Depay gives it away. Finds Jackson Mendes, and immediately there's the little breakout. But then equally, Dumfries works hard for his team to get back. I thought Estepinian's first touch really let him down there, and you don't want to get involved in a tangle with big Denzel. He's too big.
Yeah, he's very physical, isn't he? And makes sure that his body's always in the right position. I think his awareness of surroundings is one of his big strengths. And does a fantastic job there, as that's surely got to be a yellow card. Moises Caicedo, is it? He goes diving in on Nathan Ake. He's another that's already on a yellow card, and he'll be a big miss if he's not available for the game against Senegal. Comes swiping through Nathan Ake.
It should have been a card, but again, the referee can't be bothered. Doesn't give it one. No consistency out of refereeing. You know, it's savagely mistimed challenge that. Caicedo having to work himself with that. He's tired. He's worked ever so hard. Yeah, like you say, virtually irreplaceable, isn't he, in this Ecuador team, like the beating heart of it. And he's played box to box and covered every blade of grass. But here's the chance for Vegos to show what he's got. Free kick from the edge of the box, floated in, doesn't beat the first man, it's shocking. And then the ball comes back, it will probably go back to the keeper. So Andries Nopper, just a touch there to find Frenkie de Jong again. Simple pass for him. The play out from the back one more time. Down the right hand side with Timber. Just playing the keep ball. Valencia's down. And yeah, he just looks out with his feet right now. But they're playing with 10 men at the moment. Ecuador need to get some treatment on. You know, Ecuador are asking for the ball to go out, but the Dutch are not complying with that wish. Nor do they need to, as Dumfries looks to put the crossing out, comes the keeper, and he will come, claim the ball, maybe we can get a bit of treatment to Ene Valencia, who is down, his shin pads off, he's feeling his right ankle and calf there. That would be a worry for Gustavo Alfaro. But they need to put the ball there.
No, they don't have to. It's not a head injury. He's down. He's not impacting plays on the halfway line. There's arguments breaking out now as to maybe why they didn't put the ball off the pitch, but it's not within the rules. Why should you? You're chasing a game. It's competitive. Every time a player goes down, if you put the ball out in these latter moments of a match, a crucial game, it wouldn't always be in your best interest. And I'd be shocked if he continues here. He looks out on his feet, doesn't he? Not just with the knock, but panting away, and he's run his race. As I said before, he left the pitch early against Qatar with a knock. I said he'd looked all right. Maybe he's been running through the pain barrier a little bit.
Yeah, sprinting through the pain barrier.
Yeah.
He's been brilliant today, hasn't he? I think he'd be contender man of the match, but there's plenty in this Ecuador side. They've been good back to front, haven't they? Caicedo, brilliant. Estepinian, brilliant. Platter, from the moment I said we haven't mentioned it, but he's been non-stop. As Rodriguez about to come on, everybody know about it. Anyway, Kevin Rodriguez, and he works for Interflora, or maybe my eyesight's not working. I can't see what team.
Imbabura. Close.
Valencia's still down, which is a concern, but I honestly, I think that fella needs oxygen. You know,
it's not helping, so he's closing his nose, preventing some of his airways. Don't know if that's a tactic. I've not seen it used before by the medical staff, but yeah, he's got a stretcher on the pitch as well now if he needs that as help to get off.
Looking at Gakpo's strike, seems like an eternity ago now. And then the shot saved, and Valencia netting the rebound, spins round. And he's such a cool customer, but he's unfortunately leaving the field on a stretcher. I mean, he does look like he just worked too hard today and overheated, I think. You know, so I'm pretty sure they can get fluids back into getting going again. I think it's a shame they can win out of this, because, you know, going into that last game, it's like, oh, they'll have to go in that again. I'm not sure that when you get to a certain age, you can play 3 games a week. You know, I think it's just asking too much.
Yeah, be too much for him. A player that's had injuries over the course of his career as well. So, yeah, they'll be hoping that everything's going to be all right and that maybe it is a fatigue thing rather than any serious injury. Of course, that still will take time to recover from, and muscles that'll be aching and soreness and all sorts of things. I think once the adrenaline kicks in, it becomes a bit different, doesn't it? You start a match again, you can maybe get through that for half a game or an hour or so, but definitely nothing left in the tank for him today. And I think that he's probably going to really make sure we've got a good chunk of time to come at the end of this game now. We could be looking at 7, 8, 9 minutes maybe.
Yeah, and so there could be a twist and turn, yeah. This added time at the end of a game is quite a significant chunk, and as yet, it's not yielded anything. You know, no games have turned around that I can remember.
Oh, we saw it earlier today. Iran scored twice. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Wales were down to 10 men, and then it was a lot of time. And in a way, I mean, they got beaten up throughout that half, and then the goal came after that, you know. But I suppose the goals came in that added time. I don't know. I'm not sure if it was that significant in that game, really, but when the goals came, I suppose. But no element of surprise. But here, just first thing that Kevin Rodriguez does is close Knockberg down. His clearance nearly ends up the back of his net over his shoulder. So that would have been a hell of a start for Rodriguez, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's trying to make a case for starting the next game. Scoring the winning goal in this one wouldn't do him any harm. He's not got long to impose himself. A minute of those 6 gone.
Yeah, 6 minutes. We thought it might be something like that. Not long, really. The Valencia hold-up didn't have too much on for that, but we had lots of substitutions and all that. Rodriguez, again, he's a big man and almost as big as Van Dijk, giving him a bit of a torrid time as Ecuador have a throw down the left-hand side. I think the Dutch fans will be frustrated watching this. In a way, that early goal it's the way the cookie crumbles, and then, you know, it's not really allowed their game to unfold in a natural way. You know, victory or early success sometimes, but I mean, for England, they kicked on in their game, but in this game, that just jabbed Ecuador in the ribs, you know, allowed them to roll their game plan out. Here we go, Preciado with a header from inside the D, but he just never got enough on that. Looked a bit tame, didn't it?
Yeah, I have to say, I agree with you on the Netherlands. I had big hopes for them coming into the competition, but I've covered both of their games now and been really underwhelmed by both of them. They were poor for a good hour against Senegal and got 2 late goals when Senegal tired. This one scored early, but as you say, have not done anything from that. It's Ecuador who've been the better of the 2 sides as it's gone on. I do wonder if against a sort of more notable team that the Netherlands' style might work better against them rather than a team like Senegal or Ecuador who are just in your face, pressing you and not giving you that time on the ball. Teams who are happy to sit back and allow them to move the ball around, that might let them settle into a rhythm. But so far they've been shown no respect by anyone in their group, and it shows. They've had to work really hard, and looks like they'll have 4 points from 2 games.
Rodriguez again really putting his head down there. Ake was strong and got across and dealt with him. Yeah, just loving this World Cup where it clashes styles, teams working hard, but with you know, some decent passing starts. I thought Iran who were really toothless against England, really showed up against Wales with the good. Saudi Arabia showed you know, a team who can pass a ball, can spring a surprise. You know, I took a little break in that game, and Argentina were 1-0 up, and then, you know, by the time I got back, I had to rewind and watch 2 incredible goals for Saudi Arabia. You know, and I'm also thinking that it's very hot out there. You know, you can't disguise that. Both sets of players actually sweating buckets out there. So maybe the teams there, you know, Saudi Arabia could go a bit further in the top. Those teams that are used to it. I always think Spain go well when it's red hot. They know how to keep the ball. They were really impressive, weren't they, in their victory. 2 minutes left of this game. We still might get a winner yet, and I think Blind forced to put the ball out. That's going to be a corner kick if any of the Ecuador players can be bothered getting down the other end to take it. But everybody looks absolutely out on their feet. It's like they've given their all.
Yeah, it's the first game where I've seen a side so fatigued, and that is because of the effort they put in as well. The conditions, as you mentioned, are warm. A lot of the stadium's air conditioned, so it's eased it slightly, but they've just given everything. They've put their full hearts into this game, and if they get a winner, as I said before, I think it would be deserved.
Right then, it's a corner kick, and again the love train. Again, Van Dijk standing in the way. Can Sarmiento find them? A good-looking ball in. He's headed straight up in the air by Van Dijk. Sarmiento gets it back, but his first touch leaves a little bit to be desired. His second is even worse. He toe ends the ball out just a bit.
Yeah, I didn't think he could do much worse after that first touch. He'd done well to recover and get to it, but then under pressure just squeezes it off the side of the field. And that's probably that. Netherlands looking to clear their lines here and hopefully stay away from their goal.
Yeah, the big up and under though allows another opportunity. Ball into the box. Sarmiento trying to back in there. Eventually, Daley Blind just clears his lines. Might be an opportunity here, but Depay can't bring the ball under control. Didn't expect it, but maybe he should have done. And had he done, then you never know. Again, the ball won by Jackson Porozzo. As again, Ecuador looking to get there, but this time, poor little touch by Ibarra, who's just come on. Romano Ibarra, first touch, and he's giving it away. And here come the Netherlands. One last chance for the Orange to grab a victory, but not with a ball like that. And Estepinian, his good game continues. I say that, he can give the ball away. And then Frenkie de Jong. But listen, they're all out on the feet out there, like two heavyweights who've punched themselves to a standstill as Blind over the halfway line now picks it up. The referee puts his whistle to his lips, and there we go, full time. What a cracking game of football, but it's ended up the Netherlands 1, Ecuador 1. Thanks for joining us.